Hey, it's Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. Welcome to Life Mastery Decoded for women and women entrepreneurs, where I help you decode the struggles in your life in the areas of health, wealth, and relationships with mind mastery and meditation tools and techniques so that you can live the life that you're proud of. Welcome to today's podcast. Hello, ladies. Welcome to today's episode, where I hope today I find you to be full of love and romance. And if you are not full of love and romance with your current love partner, then it is my intention that you find a nugget of information and inspiration in today's episode that leads you to finding the love that you want. Okay, so here we go. Today, we're going to be talking about the 5 love languages. Now, Gary Chapman wrote a book, and the 5 love languages absolutely, unequivocally, if that's how you say that, changed my life forever. I know there's so many of these epiphanies that tell you every time I come up with something, I'm like, oh my God, it changed my life forever. Okay, but truly, the 5 love languages changed my life in every relationship, not just with my partners or even my current partner, but it changed my relationship with all of the people in my life. Because now, let me back up. Let me go back. Okay, what does 5 love languages mean? What is that? And I absolutely implore you, almost require, that if you want to find love in your life and keep it fresh and exciting, is that you read this book. You have to read this book. So, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman is a book about how to communicate to your person, whoever the person is. Again, it's every relationship that you want to deepen, and you communicate to them how you love them or show them how you love them in their love language. Okay, so everybody receives love in a different way. Like some people like hugs and kisses. Some people would rather get a card for their birthday. Some people would rather you take them on a cruise. Some people would rather you clean out the cat litter box and shovel the driveway. So how do we know? But let me, God, I keep having to back up because this to me is like the epitome of information needed to excel in relationships. So here they are. The 5 love languages are, I just lost my place here. The 5 love languages: acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, words of affirmation, and physical touch. Okay, so let's define each one. Acts of service is serving or being of service to the person you love, doing things for them to lessen their load. So doing the dishes, emptying the cat litter box, shoveling the driveway, doing laundry, doing stuff like that. There's a story that he tells in the book that is some counseling that a married couple have gone through. And the wife is like, I don't feel love in this relationship anymore. And the husband is like, I don't understand why, because I shovel the driveway, I do the dishes, I do the laundry, I take care of all of these acts of service. I fix the house, I walk the dogs, whatever. And she's like, well, yes, but you never touch me. We never kiss. We never hold hands. We never hug. And so just knowing what you know right now, what is her love language? It's physical touch. Okay, so acts of service is doing things for that person. Receiving gifts, pretty much self-explanatory. Roses, flowers, doing things, buying gifts. So if your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever, and you find out the things that they're into, the things that they enjoy, is buying gifts like that. They could be totally random gifts. Don't wait for their birthday or a holiday. Send a random gift. Send a random note with a gift to their workplace, have it delivered, put it in the mail, something like that, okay? The next one is quality time. That is spending quality time with that person. And it is, if you're, we're talking about kids, if you have kids and there's this quality time, is you make eye contact, listen to them, engage in the conversation that they're talking about. If they're into Pokemon or My Little Pony or Barbie or whatever, is that you are engaging in that conversation. You are listening to them. You are looking at them when they're talking as best as you can, giving very high doses of quality time like that. Please understand that watching TV next to your loved one is not quality time. I was with somebody for 10 years, almost 10 years, who thought that quality time was we turn the TV on and sit next to each other. It is not. That's not it. Okay. The next one is physical touch. Hand holding, hugging, putting your hand on their shoulder. Of course, intimate relations. All of that is part of how they receive love. And the last one is words of affirmation. And these are compliments, acknowledgement, thank yous, please, all of those. It could be in a card form. Anything that you are using words to acknowledge how you feel about that person. So if you are a man, if you happen to be a man watching this or listening to this episode, please tell your loved one you love them. That very well could be their love language. Okay, so how do I know? I'm in a relationship. How do I know what their love language is? The best case to decipher is they will show you how much they love you in their own love language. So if let's say theirs is physical touch, and we're talking about your intimate relationship. If they're wanting to kiss you all the time, wanting to hug you, always out in public, they're always wanting to hold your hand, or obviously sex is on their mind. If it's a child, they're wanting to sit in your lap, hold your hand, give you hugs, give you kisses, then theirs is probably physical touch. Then you have to look at yourself and say, do I offer physical touch to this person? Do I hug them enough? Do we have enough intimate contact? If it's my son or daughter, am I holding their hand? Am I hugging them at night? Am I giving them a kiss? So you could ask them, but I think it's more important to kind of sit back and be aware of how they show you they love you. And then you can, a 2-year-old, if they go out, they color a picture, or they make something in Play-Doh, or they go out and, they're playing outside and they bring you a pine cone, theirs is probably gifts. If they enjoy sitting with you and reading with you, and they constantly call you over to show you things and engage with you, it's probably quality time. If you hear lots of pleases and thank yous and I love you and Mom, I love you, it's probably words of affirmation. Make sense? So now what do I do with this information? So here's my first suggestion is get out a piece of paper if you can. You could do this in your head if you want. And as I am kind of defining what each of these love languages is or are, is now to take a sheet of paper or even in your head and to write them down and say, on a scale from 1 to 5 for each one, how much of a love language, how important is it for me to get this one as a love language? So let's take acts of service. So how important is it for my partner to show me they love me by taking care of things around the house? Doing dishes, picking up after themselves, emptying the cat litter box, walking the dog, shoveling the driveway. How important is that? If they never did it again, would I stay in this relationship? I'm not saying that they become a slob, but that they don't necessarily do it for you. Would you stay in the relationship? And if the answer is yes, but you really don't care if they don't do it again and you are fine with it, it's probably a 1. If you're like, absolutely not, they have to take care of the things around the house, or I would absolutely dump them, then it's probably a 5. And then go through the rest of them. Words of affirmation. What do you have to hear the words I love you? Do you have to hear the words thank you? Do you feel underappreciated because they don't recognize the things that you do? Then it's probably a 5. What about physical touch? We're talking about your intimate relationship. If we never had sex again, would I be able to maintain this relationship and still love this person? If the answer is yes, you're probably a 1. If the answer is I have to have sex once a week, I need some physical contact, I need kissing and hugging and hand holding, or I will put them out with yesterday's garbage, then you're a 5. Okay, so do that little bit of homework, because remember, as we are working on personal growth and we're moving through these different episodes and I'm giving little nuggets of information and little things to try, you figure out where you are in your life, what areas you want to work on. And then there's always a teeny tiny little bit of awareness that comes on your part. Because remember, in the relationship, it's not about me forcing them to grow. It's about me growing and transforming and then allowing my life to take shape. So if I'm in a relationship where mine is quality time and I am not getting quality time from my person, and I keep asking and keep asking and keep asking, and they say, well, we are spending time together. We're watching TV together. And I say, can we go for a walk? How about a weekend getaway? How about we go for a bike ride? Because to me, that is quality time. And if we don't get that, then eventually I start to become harder in the relationship. I start to be, kind of distance myself. I start to not feel as happy or as loved as I could. And then that's when trouble starts happening. That's when relationships start to fall apart. That's when one or the other person in the relationship may start to say, you know what, I don't know, we should either break up, or they start to turn to maybe other people to satisfy those needs. So it is up to us to figure out what ours is, and then now to be able to communicate that effectively with your partner. Okay? So here's a perfect example. Well, I guess I won't give that example. Okay, so my youngest son, Cameron, is currently 11. He'll be 12 at the end of January 2021. And he loves quality time. He also loves physical touch. So he always wants to hold my hand, give me a kiss, hang on, like snuggle with me. And mine, I'm like probably a 1, maybe a 2 on physical touch. So it is always something that I have to work on in my intimate relationship with Amy, but also with my kids, with Cameron at least. So I have to be able to understand that in order to deepen my relationship with him, that I need to hold his hand occasionally, or I need to snuggle with him while we watch a movie, or we need to, I give him a hug whenever, right? And making sure that that is getting implemented into our relationship, as well as my relationship with Amy. So if you are in a relationship, your job now is to figure out what yours is, and your job is to figure out what theirs is. So listen to what they're saying. And you could ask things like, so do you know that I love you? And they'll say, well, yeah. What are the couple of things that I do that show you that I love you? That's a way to ask it. Well, it's because, we have sex once a week. Okay. Anything else? Well, I really love when we go for walks together. Like I really feel connected with you when we go for walks. So what is that? Physical touch and quality time. And you can continue to kind of revisit this. And what it also does in the relationship is it opens up the communication to a new platform of how do we get our needs met, and how do we really show each other how much we love each other. Because I can guarantee you, if you get into a relationship and their love language is quality time, and you are not spending that kind of quality time to them, like what their definition of quality time is, because to me, sitting next to them on the couch and watching TV is not quality time. What that does is bores me to tears. And then what ends up happening is I decide to leave the relationship. Now, of course, I communicate with them and I say, hey, how about we go do this? Or how about we do that? Can we turn the TV off? Can we just talk? Can we look at each other, for God's sakes? And if they're not willing to step into that new role, if they're not willing to kind of help transform the relationship, then that's where I get to make a further decision. Okay? So that's going to be your homework. Let me say them again, because I know this is a podcast and you don't have a visual of what they might be, but this is such important information. So here they are again. Acts of service. So that is doing things for them. Receiving gifts, giving them things, tangible things. Quality time, physical touch, and words of affirmation. So once you have those defined, and I'll put a link in the description of this podcast where you could find the book, but there's tons and tons and tons of information out there that you can gather more information about it. And I'm sure this won't be the last time we talk about it. But so important to really implement into your life and start to communicate with your loved ones. Again, your personal intimate relationships as well as your kids. Hey, you know what? You also could take this into the workplace. And when we talk about some of these, this is how you could communicate when, like with your staff, how great they're doing. Is kind of find out, what do you think their love language is? Now, you got to be careful with physical touch, but it could be a handshake. It could be, a high five. It could be something like that. I'm not talking about taking your staff to bed, but I'm just saying that there's lots and lots of ways. So try to expand your mind, move in this direction, communicate with your loved ones, and find out. Ask those questions. Find out how they're communicating with you, and how they're like what they do to show you they love you. Especially your kids, they will communicate. Remember, we all communicate to get a need met. We all behave to get a need met. As a matter of fact, in episode number 12, 13, I'm going to be talking about those needs and why people behave the way they do. So please stay tuned. Another huge epiphany in my life in relating to other people. So take care of yourselves, go deep in those relationships, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for listening, and if you liked this episode, please take the time to like and share. Also, please visit me on my other social media pages. I'm on Instagram, Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. I'm on Facebook, where we have this community titled Life Mastery Decoded, and it's a community of women and women entrepreneurs where we come together to support one another in sharing our successes and struggles. You can also check out my YouTube channel, where I share my teachings and my personal journey, and it's simply titled Jen Mack, Jenmac. Have a great day, and I hope to hear from you.